And I think we are live. So if someone can confirm that it's all working in the comment section, that would be amazing. But yeah, it's been a while since we've done a live Q&A session. So live Q&A session, celebrating the 17,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. Obviously, whenever we try to get to an extra new 1,000 subscribers, we try to do a live Q&A session to celebrate. So hopefully, not many of you join because you're having a better Saturday than just sat here watching me talk about stocks. So hopefully there's not too many of you on the live stream, but we'll go for about half an hour or something like that. Sometimes we always go over sometimes on these live Q&A sessions. And yeah, fire away any questions you want to ask in the comment section and I'll try cover them for you guys as a bit of a thank you for getting to 17,000 subscribers. I'll kind of spend a minute or two just talking about a few random things before just give everyone a bit of a chance to join. I've come a little bit early. I said 8 o'clock, but we're actually at 10 to. But I was kind of sat around and I thought, you know what, let's just go for it, yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys doing on the Saturday. Just been watching the football, a lot of flat pack building for the new nursery, selling a few things on Facebook Marketplace. Oh my days, you don't half get some people that mess you about. I think I've been trying to get rid of a bed for free. I didn't even want to get rid of the bed. I actually really like the bed. It's actually really comfy. It's comfy in the bed that we have in the main bedroom, but unfortunately, it's turned into a nursery, and I've been trying to get rid of it for free. And it's the amount of people that say, "Yeah, I'll come for it," and then they actually don't turn up for it has been crazy. Like it's been like the last week and every single night so far through the week, someone's been like, "Yeah, I'll come for it," and then they don't even turn up. But it got to the point today where like 2 people messaged me at once, and I said to both of them, I was like, "Yeah, it's still available," and I thought whoever comes first, they can have it, and then I'll just message the other person, be like, "Sorry, it's gone," and lucky enough, one of them came for it. I just had to work out which one it was, and then message the other one saying, "No, sorry, it's gone." So felt a bit guilty doing that. But I was at that point where I was like, I'm sure one of them isn't going to turn up anyway. To be fair, so yeah, funny, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to try to do the. I was going to do this on Sunday, but I decided to do it on Saturday night because on Sunday I'm going to do the US stocks I'm buying video. So I thought I'd do that one on Sunday, and then I can say as well, if you're not on Patreon, this is your last chance because the prices will go up on Monday. Thinking of kind of doing like, obviously the prices are going to go up by about 10%, 20%, 20%. But I'm also going to try to do like a yearly one as well. So if you do want to like a little bit cheaper and commit for a longer period of time, I'm going to hopefully do like a yearly membership that's a little bit more of a discount anyway. But apart from that, I've seen a few guys throwing in a few questions in the comment box. Just checking. It looks like it's all working from what I can tell because there's some questions coming in. So I think everything's working sound-wise and everything. So that's good. So let's get started. So I think there's been a few loaded questions before the stream started, which is good. So TJ, thanks for the support. I think you've been around for a long time now on the YouTube channel. Congratulations, Jacob. Well deserved. Thank you very much. Question: what's your thoughts regarding the current valuation of Nvidia? They seem to be moving into other markets, including yeah. Every time I think Nvidia is overvalued, they just like put in the numbers where like actually the numbers are very good, where you can kind of go, okay, this growth is going on a little longer than what you thought. So as long as they can keep doing the numbers they're doing, the stock will keep going up. They're doing better numbers than whatever I thought I would. The AI situation is coming a lot more serious than what I thought I would. Personally, for me, I've gone for AMD. I just can justify the numbers a little bit more than Nvidia personally, but I mean, I can't complain. I mean, what's the forecast for this year? Do you know what the numbers are for this, as in 2025, 2026? I'll just have a quick look on Yahoo Finance. Yeah, I mean, this year, apparently, can I share the screen with you guys? Sometimes I get a bit worried that you're just staring at me when I'm like researching a couple of things. So if I share that with you guys, you should see it. Yeah, I mean, it says here on the video that current year 2025, they're expected the EPS to go from $1.03 up to $2.95, 111% revenue growth. Next year, 51% revenue growth, and obviously they ended up hiking up that massively throughout the year, and then from $2.95 up to $4.45. I mean, what's that on a forward P basis? Yeah, I mean, it's coming up as wow. It's coming up as 31 times earnings, which is not ridiculous at all. So, yeah, you've done well if you've got this one. Let me take that one off there. Perfect. Have you had a look at Stitch? I've not looked at Stitch. I can have a quick scan for you if you want. Let me just have a look on Simply Wall Street for you guys. Is there a ticker symbol for that? Stitch. Or am I just... oh, it's not Stitch. I need to learn to read it. I assume this is it. Let me just share the screen with you guys so you can see that for yourselves. This is where the power of Premiere comes in, you see. You don't normally see these breaks when I do the normal YouTube videos. Yeah, let's have a look here. So it is... let's have a look. I'll just have a quick scan of the numbers. That'll be best, wouldn't it? So there looks like a big surge in... this looks a bit strange, this. If this is the right company, that is. Steady revenue growth, big boom of revenue growth. Don't know if that's something COVID related, 2021, 2022, or even acquisition related. And then for some reason, it's gone very stagnant. The profit is very hard to forecast. I mean, look at this. What's going on here? There must be some sort of write-offs going on or something. That's... yeah. What's the analyst forecast? There's not much growth there, if this is the right company. Oh, I see all the numbers as well. I'd have to do conversion here on currency basis. Not much cash on that balance sheet. Debt's coming down though. That's good. Not much on the insider buy. What's it trading at? Oh, it's going to be unprofitable, isn't it? Yeah, it just, from what I could tell, it just looks... I can't really give an opinion if this is the right one. It looks like it looks quite confusing what's going on with the revenue and profit, really. It doesn't stand out as anything special at the moment. If that's the right stock, hope it is the right stock. Not sure if it is though. Yeah, but focusing on M&A again, if that's what the success has been, you've got to always be really careful, Lucas, about that. It's sustainable. You know, look at S4 Capital. That was a company that did very well because it made a ton of acquisitions, and then it fueled growth through acquisitions, and then it wasn't able to sustain it as soon as the acquisitions kind of went down. If that's the right stock, that is. I don't know if it was the right stock. The TJ says you've been chasing a few UK stocks of late. Which one would you consider making the largest UK position? Yeah, obviously I think there's a bit of opportunity in the UK markets. I mean, it doesn't look like a pretty kind of 6 or 12 months. It looks like it could maybe even get a little worse. But, you know, you look at some of these prices, a lot of them are priced in at, you know, some are as low as the CV drop, the Liz Trust period, and that looked pretty awful. And let's not forget, you know, I think sometimes a few people thought the Liz Trust wasn't an obvious rebound, and it wasn't. And a few people sold out on the Liz Trust news and thought it was going to get a lot worse. And obviously they missed out on, you know, a lot of run up. So yeah, it's not always obvious. And you know, when we think it might be max fear, or not max fear, or that things can get worse, that's potentially where, you know, the max fear is kind of at. So sometimes those are where the greatest opportunities do come from. And, you know, it can't go on forever. It can't go on forever where a lot of these stocks are, you know, down in the dumps. You're seeing stocks at historical low valuations, you know, dividend yields that are extremely high. At some point, they will rebound back, and they always do. So there's opportunity out there. With regards to the largest UK position, I chop and change all the time. Like, I was pretty much fixed on gaming realms for like the last couple of weeks. because the valuation that's at and the numbers they're putting in, I just can't understand the disconnect between the valuation and the growth. And then B&M drops the other day, and I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty cheap for B&M now. I'm like that wouldn't actually be that bad at the moment, to be fair, because B&M, yeah, it's game realms is always about the regulation risk, I guess, and if there was clients potentially leaving them. B&M, you go down the high street, and well, not maybe the high street, there's not always B&M on the high street, but your local B&M, you just go in every day and you just know it's going to be, you wake up tomorrow and there's going to be customers still going in there the next day. It's a very easy business model to understand. So from a safety point of view, B&M is, for many years, I can guarantee B&M is going to be popular. I don't have to worry about a major client kind of moving away from them. So then I think, well, B&M is an opportunity. And then it moves all the time between those sort of stocks at the moment. And I always keep thinking about that's one that I like, and then I switch it. JD Sports. I was in Meadowhall on Friday, and it was quite a quiet day, really, evening in Meadowhall. Went past JD. It was the busiest shop in Meadowhall, and then I look at that down at a forward P of 7, and I think, well, what about JD Sports? Because it's exactly the same with JD Sports, but 7 times earnings. And then also, if I'm worried about where the UK is going, well, JD Sports is kind of coming not a UK business anymore. It's coming like a worldwide business. So if the UK is a little bit rough for them, well, don't worry, because the Europe and US will probably drag it out. So I don't know. I chop and change all the time, so I can't really give you a clear answer. I'm sorry. What's your expectations with HIMS this year? Where do you think the share price will be in 2025? Obviously 12 months is really hard to predict. I would say HIMS and Hers has another fantastic year, though. If they do the numbers they are expected to do, which, let me just quickly share the screen with you guys so you just don't stare at me while I'm searching things again. So if we just have a quick look on Yahoo Finance and we just go on HIMS and Hers, for example, let's go down on analysts. They're currently expecting 0.85 up to 0.98, and then we're expecting 42% growth. Obviously, by the end of last year, the growth was absolutely insane, and the growth was quite low last year. We know HIMS and Hers normally have that kind of sandbag the numbers, and they raise it quite a bit as the year goes on. I would expect something similar again. I mean, realistically, the EPS will probably touch over $1 by the end of the year. Sales growth wise, obviously we should end up probably towards the 50%, I would say, at least. With 50% revenue growth, and if they get up to a $1 EPS, I mean, realistically, what's the forward PE on it now? 52. I don't think it'll have as good a year as what it's just come off. But realistically, do I expect HIMS and Hers could have will HIMS and Hers outperform the S&P 500? I think if it does those financials, it will outperform the S&P 500. So is it still worth having in the portfolio? Yeah. Could it have another ballistic year? Yeah. But I wouldn't like to slam on and say, like, oh yeah, it's definitely going to have a 50 to 100%, return. But what I will say is that if HIMS and Hers doesn't outperform the S&P 500 this year, I'd be quite surprised. So yeah, I would expect it to have a good year because the financials for that valuation is still pretty good in my opinion. We've got Mikey joining us. Hi, Jacob. Congrats on a great channel. Thank you. I have opened a position in pets at home, very undervalued with a good dividend. Any thoughts? Yeah, I like the space. I'm sure you're probably aware. I've picked up CVS Group personally over Pets at Home because I think that Pets at Home is just a little bit more vulnerable with the retail space because obviously they've got a lot more retail stores. The retail stores, in my opinion, might come under competition with like online retailers. And also that they have, because of the retail spaces, they have a lot more workers. A lot of retail places tend to have minimum wage workers, so they're going to be the ones hit by the big increases in national wage and NI impacts from the budget a lot more. And when I looked at Pets at Home's recent earnings, the strongest part was the veterinary service, which obviously CVS Group is more veterinary services. And then I was like, well, I'd rather just have that veterinary services, which obviously I got with, CVS Group. more than Pets at Home. So that's personally for me. I went for CVS Group over Pets at Home. But yeah, I like it. I can understand why you're kind of picking it up, because I believe the company is pretty decent balance sheet wise, historically pretty decent growth. It's got a lot of income streams. The historically done quite well. I think it's quite a cheap valuation, if I remember correctly, towards its historical lower valuation. So yeah, obviously, as we know, this whole space has been pushed down because of the CMA investigation into this kind of space. So I certainly think there's opportunity here. I was listening to Paul Hill and Paul Scott a couple of weeks ago. I think they both agreed like there's opportunity in this space. I think Paul Scott went with Pets at Home. I think Paul Hill went with CBS Group. So it seems like there's a few people staring around this kind of space here about which one's the better. If there's an opportunity in this space, and then it goes down to which one you personally want to go get. But yeah, I think you'll be okay with Pets at Home, I think. But yeah, I personally went with CVS Group, but I can see why you bought it for sure. Yeah. Well then, Jacob, 17k subs. Thank you very much. I'd be interested in your thoughts on UK house builder stocks. Rates will come down at some point. That's the key question. And there's a pledge to build more homes. Yeah, this is the thing with house builders, is that your answer is basically there in that question, is that house builders, the rates will come down at some point, right? We all thought they'd come down in 2024. Not happened. We all thought they would definitely be down in 2025. It's not. It looks like it's not going to happen. I think the latest data is suggesting that we're going to have one cut in 2025, which obviously won't be great for the house builders. I mean, it'll be a little bit better for them, but it won't be great. So it's starting to look. What's the concern around a lot of house builders now? You've probably seen it. A lot of them are dropping at the moment with, Barrett Redrow and more Vish. I wouldn't say Vish Dry, but this is mainly off that profit warning. But certainly a lot of house builders are kind of dropping at the moment, and the concern is that we thought we were going to see the rebound in 2025, and it's looking like it's probably going to be 2026, and that's why we're seeing all the kind of like money kind of going. We don't have the patience to sit in this for 12 months and see if it recovers. That's what the big money quite often does. They don't want to sit cash in something for 12 months to see the rebound. They don't have the patience to do that. That's why us retail investors, we have the kind of edge, because for us, we're all right kind of sitting in a stock for 12 months with it doing nothing or going down 10% or 20%, and then eventually we'll get the rewards 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line. That's why so many big investment funds will sell something out and then it rebounds, and like, well, why were they selling it out? Because they kind of went, oh, we don't think it's going to recover just yet. They can't justify, if they keep them, let's say they have a £1 million invested in something and it does negative 20%. When they review that at the end of the year, they'll be looking and going, why did you keep all of our money in this stock that's gone down 20% for the full year? What was a bit of a waste? Why were you not going and buying Palantir? That's had a good year. So obviously they can't wait that long. And that's what the kind of like reflection is at the moment in the UK house builders. But longer term, yeah, I'd look at some point, the interest rates will have to come down slightly in the UK. We need more houses. I think UK, that is one of the places that I would like to invest in. If you're not invested in personally, obviously you guys know me. I've got Eurocell, I've got Barrett Redrow, but certainly I'm looking at that space thinking, is there another one I want to pick up here? Because it certainly looks, for me, I can sit on something for a year of it doing nothing and then get the rewards further down the line. So there's definitely opportunity there. At some point, the interest rates have to come down. We just don't know when. I think that it won't be as good year as what I thought it would be. But there again, I was quite surprised with how aggressive, the UK government would support inflation at the moment. So yeah, it's definitely not going to be an easy run for the next year. Well, not as easy as what we thought. So you're going to have you got to have patience, but I think there'll be rewards in that space for sure. Thanks very much, Jay. Thoughts or bets? We've just had it, Chris. Mikey just asked on pets. Rio Tinto, not a space I don't really get into it. I just get, there's certain spaces I don't invest in. That's one of the spaces. Anything where certain like commodity prices or external factors affect them. I don't really invest in it. It's out of my control. And as a retail investor, I always believe you should invest in things that you have an edge on. I have no edge in kind of like the mining space. And as well as that, I always think you're open to like, fluctuations in like commodity prices. I don't really like that. So yeah, it's just a space I don't touch it. Congrats. Any opinion on Cerillion stock? I don't think I've ever looked at it, to be fair. But I'll have a quick look at it for you if you want. Let me just share the screen. Okay, hopefully you can see that for a second. Okay, I believe that's it. Provide software for billing, charging, and customer relationships. Okay. But it's a pretty decent size, 466 million market cap. Looks like from what I can see, it's had a pretty good year. Have I got a stock chart down here? Or is it not loading for me? Oh yeah. I see what you mean about the drop. Yeah, about £19 and it's dropped to about £15 there. It's just seem like, wow, look at that. Historically, it looks like it's been a pretty decent performer. Oof. Tell you what, if you were buying this in 2020, you'd be pretty happy about it. What's the valuation on this? Are we profitable? Okay, it's about 30 times earnings. Okay. Growth wise, it looks like it's gotten. Look at that. That's lovely. Lovely. Like it's great profit margins. Lovely trend on the profit. Lovely trend on the profit. The revenue growth, sorry. What we're growing at. Yeah, we're growing at decent rates. What's that, about 15% a year? A little bit of slowdown at the moment, but nothing too major. That's good. Profit looks like it's ramping up nicely. Yeah, nice little increases going on that profit there. Wonder what the drop is. Have they just done an update and a bit slower than what the market wanted it to be? Yeah, look at that. That's the benefits of having a very profitable company. Strong balance sheet there. Oof, 29 million of cash. Nice. It's a good balance sheet. Dividend? No dividend. Are they throwing it into a share buyback? I hope they're doing some form. Oh, they've got a slight dividend. Oh yeah, they have got a very small dividend, 0.8%. I wonder what they're doing with all that cash. Are they doing any acquisitions or they're doing share buybacks? Worth looking into. Ownership wise, not much buying going on this dip. There was an insider sell, but it was only an individual, nothing too major that. Ownership wise, who's Lewis Hall? Is that the founder? He has a good chunk of the shares there. I do a bit of research onto him, see what he's got going on. Looks good, yeah. From what I can see, yeah, good revenue growth, great profit margins, good profit growth, clean balance sheet, 30 times earnings. Yeah. From what all I can see here, yeah, it looks interesting. I'd certainly, yeah, consider having a look at this. I think from what I can see, it looks good. I think you just have to you have to do a little bit of number crunching here and see what potentially would be an attractive value to maybe buy in this here. But if you could get this at the right value, it looks interesting. From what I can see, obviously there's a lot more research to go on than that, and where potential growth is. But yeah, certainly looks interesting. Got Savvy Money Show joining us. Mercado Libre, love it. Yeah, love it. It's my 6th largest position, I think, at the moment. And yeah, I think it's having a little bit of a dip from some of the concerns with what's going on in Brazil. Long term, what a company, and that's what I look at. The market's panicking about short term and FX fluctuations in the short term. I guarantee well, I shouldn't say guarantee, but 5 years' time, is Mercado Libre going to be smaller or bigger than where they are? They're going to be much bigger. Yeah, I am liking Mercado Libre. I am actively buying Mercado Libre at the moment. Hi, Jacob. What are your thoughts on HP? Not really being lifted through the AI boom. You know what? I've never looked at it, to be fair. Sorry, not HP. Hewlett Packard, I should say. Is that the right ticker symbol? HPE? Yeah, it's HPE, isn't it? Let me just share the screen on Simple Wall Street. There we go. So let's have a look. It's still profitable, isn't it? Yeah, 11 times earnings. Yeah, I mean, the reason why is because look at the growth. It's just there's not much going on, is there? If you want to have a success, if you want a business to be worth more on the share price in 5-10 years time, you got to have more revenue growth. You got to have profit growth. If you do the same profit and revenue growth in 5 years time as what you're doing right now, it's going to be valued exactly the same, isn't it? So that's why Hewlett Packard is not really doing anything. And historically, it's not been attractive really at all, as you can see here. And where Nvidia has certainly had the boom up in the AI, these guys look like they're not really getting that much benefit from it. I mean, I guess there's a slight little uptick, but 1 billion, 2 billion profit on a 29 billion market cap, it's not going to be enough. If this stock has to go up from here, you need to be getting up to like a 4 billion in profit. And analysts at the moment, for the next 3 years are currently forecasting no lift in the profitability. That's where your issue is. I mean, if you believe they are going to lift the profit up, then that there you go. There's your kind of thing of like, actually, I think analysts are wrong. But from what I can scan, this is why the share price has done nothing, and this is why because the profit hasn't done anything. There's been a big tick up in the debt there. Look at that debt jump. What they've done in the last couple of months, they've gone from 11 billion in debt to 18 billion in debt. Is that an acquisition? But the cash has gone up a fair bit. Have they just took on an extra loan? Is that what it is? I'm not sure why they did that. Have they got a dividend they can't afford? 2.7%. Yeah, it's okay on the dividend. Not sure actually. Nothing on the insider front. Yeah, I mean, you're only interested in this if you believe analysts are wrong. But from what I can see, what analysts are saying there, I personally won't buy it because there's just nothing going on, in my opinion. So yeah. Marcus is showing some new opportunities, being heavily buying into new. Yeah, I like new and looking to average up on HIMS. Yeah, HIMS isn't too bad. I mean, I personally would like it a little bit lower, but it's not the worst valuation out there at all. Are there any emerging markets that you are interested in? Not such as like India, for example, or anything like that, but I guess the exposure to the likes of Latin America is probably the best kind of emerging markets, I would say, is my coverage. Like New Holdings, Mercado Libre, obviously got D-Local, bit of a tough kind of 12 months for that one recently, but yeah, that's kind of the coverage, I guess. I got Air South Africa as well, which kind of gives some space into the Africa continent, I guess, but nothing too major, I'd say. Hey man, I watched your video on New Holdings and view it as an overall good opportunity to invest. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. A little bit of risk there, but it's definitely an interesting one. What do you think about their current ratio ability to pay short-term debt, or am I wrong? Yeah, as far as I can see, it looks okay. They're generating good amounts of profitability. The balance sheet's okay. Yeah, I don't see too much issue there at the moment. Given the strong dollar and continued infrastructure spending in the US, have you looked at Hill and Smith? Yeah, I suppose if I'm going to get into the construction space, I like to stay closer to home, just to have a little bit more feeling of what's going on around the construction space. Like the UK house builders, I always just tend to kind of stick in that space where I'm a little bit more comfortable. So US, I'm sure there's good opportunities out there and you probably could make the right investments. But for me, I just like to stay a little bit closer to home. So that's what I kind of do if I'm going in that sort of space. What's your thoughts on HIMS long term? Does the lack of moat not concern you? Yeah, HIMS in long term, I'm pretty happy where HIMS is going. Moat wise, I would say they're pretty decent from a moat point of view. You look at, they've got the product range they have is expanding, so they're not just staying in one product, so they're getting more diversified. So if anything was to ever happen to one product, you got to remember they'll have more and more. So for example, we have the weight loss. when they're getting into this space, these categories aren't small spaces. You talk about multi-trillion-dollar industries or billion industries that they're getting into. So if there's some form of disruption in one sort of industry, they've got plenty more to kind of fall back on. And I guess as well is what hopefully makes it unique is their products, the products and the pricing. They offer a good range of products. They're affordable products as well. And also hopefully the personalized products range that they have as well is hopefully keeping people a little bit longer, that they can access that amount of products all in one place. And hopefully their needs are more dealt with the personalized program that Hims and Hers offer as well, with the personal range as well. So yeah, at the moment I think they're pretty well covered, and I think that's pretty clear when you look at the churn rate. Still look pretty strong for them at the moment, I'd say. So yeah, as long as Andrew Dunham's there, I'm pretty confident that he can carry on expanding the company's TAM and opportunities. And you got to remember, every time there's certainly more areas that Andrew Dunham can expand to than lose. You look at the potential TAMs for them still to expand into. There's very many untapped healthcare in market spaces and medical conditions that they're not supporting yet. So there's more room to grow than lose, in my opinion, for sure, right now. What's my thoughts on Boohoo now? Very much happy I sold it. That is absolute chaos what's going on over there at the moment. Yeah, they are. It's crazy that they need to revamp that management team, because they keep doing the same thing and expect different results ultimately. The way that business model is at the moment, they are not going to be able to compete with the likes of Shein or Temu. So they need to change it. And at the moment, they still keep having the head in the sand and not realizing that. So it's not looking good for them. Jay says, I like evolution. However, I have not pulled the trigger due to the slowdown in growth. Does that not concern you? Yeah, but you got to remember, some of the slowdown in growth at the moment is just related to new business coming online. Very quickly that growth can scale back up again. Look at the US iGaming. There's more. It's a bit like what you said about Hims and Hers. There's a lot more opportunity than opportunity to lose. What's the iGaming at the moment? I mean, there's only a handful of states online. Is it 5 or 6? There's big opportunity in that US. Big opportunity in that US. That has the potential to be the biggest part of the business. And for the next 10 years, we haven't had that many. That's something that DraftKings is falling over at the moment. And they're like, oh, we need a few more states to kind of come online. And eventually, as soon as the iGaming states start coming online, a few more at a time, for the likes of FanDuel and DraftKings, it's going to be a big driver for them, and evolution is going to massively benefit from that as well. And as well as that, you got the other areas. I mean, you got the likes of Brazil potentially is another space. Is it Colombia as well is another space that potentially as well could be big growth for them. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, what is it, like 13 forward times earnings, and it's still expected to grow like 13-14% this year. And very quickly that growth can start speeding up with a few more states that start coming online. So the valuation for the growth is still very good in my opinion, and very quickly that growth can start speeding up a little bit more as well. So yeah, I'm definitely not concerned at all. I think a few people are sleeping on the potential as well of how quick it could start speeding up, hopefully. Hi Jacob, how severe 2025 recession will be in the UK, and how long will it take to recover? I'm not sure really, because there's been a few times in the last few years where it's like, this isn't going to end well, and we've kind of like avoided a big recession. Like, we've got close to it, and we've avoided it. I mean, obviously the benefit is that we could always pull the lever of the interest rate cuts potentially to speed the economy up. So yeah, I'm not really sure. You think it's going to be bad, and then it avoids it. People, I think maybe the last couple of times, the reason why we maybe avoided it is because people were so desperate coming out of like the CV times, and thought, I'm just going to spend money because I've been locked up for 2 years. So I'm whatever, even if prices are going up crazy, I'm still going to spend a load of money. So I don't really know if we are going to have the recession, but I certainly would be confident if inflation starts speeding up a little bit. People are just a little bit less confident. Businesses start getting nervous. I definitely would say that I would be betting on definitely a recession than a not recession in 2025, especially when you look at some of the latest data in Q4. But we just don't know. So yeah, I would say that we are leading to it, but it's never a guarantee. It's not as easy to predict, I guess. Hi Jacob, what do you think about those quantum stocks? I have no idea. I've not really looked into them. Hey mate, great content. I've been investing in funds for about 6-7 years, but thinking now to add some individual stocks for AMD, Adobe, Visa, etc. Are they too big to add if they're not being the S&P? So I mean, ultimately, like if you're moving from funds to individual stocks, quite often people make the big mistake of like jumping in the deep end and like go full risk. So yeah, I'd say like obviously just be careful, do it slowly. And I think quite often people go they go for like the boom or bust stocks so early, and then they get it burnt, and then they go, oh, I'm not touching these individual stocks again. So in my opinion, doing the right things, like you're going for like the easier to understand stocks, stocks that are profitable, big market caps. So I think you're probably doing the right thing. Adobe is a quality business. I think there's maybe questions around the valuation, but it's quality. Visa, yeah, Visa's very easily going to be around for many years and should do very well. AMD, I like, a little bit more of a tricky business to understand, so be careful around that one. But yeah, I think that if you're able to pick, if you think of the S&P 500, and if you're able to just kind of pick if you're able to pick stocks in that, that 500 list of stocks, and let's say you're able to invest in just one of the 100 best performing stocks that year, you're probably going to outperform the S&P 500. So if you can pick the right one, you'll do very well. And that's what stock picking is. You got to pick the winners and not the losers, I guess. So yeah. UK stocks are dead. They are at the moment, 100%. Yeah, they're struggling, but there's winners if you pick the right ones. I mean, a lot of people. I saw a few people in my, there's a lot of negativity. I mean, I've never seen negativity like it at the moment. And when I do a UK stocks video, I always get a lot of comments saying that UK stocks there's no point investing in them, and that to me, that's where we kind of getting towards peak fear. When people saying don't invest in UK stocks, the same thing happened in 2022, and we saw the benefits that you bought. If you bought in 2022, you did really well. I saw in 2024 people saying that UK stocks are dead, but if you pick the right ones, you can make money. If you look at my top 5 returns in 2024, 3 of them were UK stocks. Dark Trace was 100% return. Well, in 2024, I think we made 67% on it. Watch the Switzerland Group, we did really well on that one. And then the other one was, it's gone out of my head, Supreme. And then Supreme did really well. So if you pick the right ones, you can still make money on it. And let's not forget, ultimately, the probably the attractive thing with UK stocks at the moment is takeovers. Every single week there's takeovers happening in the UK market. So even if the share price isn't going to get reflected, the ultimate thing at the moment is that all, like, a lot of US companies or just in general, there's a lot of people at the moment that are staring at the UK market going, actually, you know what, this is quite a cheap valuation, we should go buy it, and we've got good access to the money. Maybe they have good exposure to the US. You've got US companies, look at how weak the dollar is, the pound is to the dollar. You got all these companies at the moment that are looking at UK markets and say, oh, well, they have a good business in the US. And because they're on the UK markets, the valued so low. If we're going to pick up the same company that was a US listed company, we'd be paying like an extra 50, 100% premium. And even that's going on right now. Dark Trace is the prime example. Dark Trace has a lot of business in the US, but because it was a UK company, the UK market valued Dark Trace half the value of, like the likes of Palo Alto Networks, CrowdStrike. And eventually it took, Bravo to just go, hold on, that's half the valuation, even though it's most of its client base is in the US, and we can get it for half the valuation. That's stupid. And then we saw the big premium paid on Dark Trace, even though it had been on a bit of a run even before the buyout happened. They kind of went, but that's still so much cheaper than Palo Alto Networks, and it's growing faster than them. We'll go buy it. And you had like the management team of Dark Trace that went, we're fed up of being a UK company because we're not getting respected. And they sold it up. And there's a few of them kind of going on at the moment. I think that certainly US UK companies that especially have US exposure might realistically really get snapped up at the moment. The likes of YouGov that has starting to have good exposure into the likes of US, for example. So if that's a reference to the UK stocks, you don't want to be invested in them. I totally disagree. I think there could be opportunities at the moment. What to make of InMode? Big drop on Wednesday. Yeah, as we've seen them before, they just don't have a grip of the financials at the moment. They said they were going to do something. The financials were way behind what they should have done. And they have to build the trust back up. They have to get the control. And when that happens, the share price should rally up. What I'd say about InMode is that they're still a heavily profitable company. So you don't have to worry about them too much. And ultimately, they just need to get to a couple % growth and this company will do very well. It's just when they're going to get there. Hopefully, the theory is that when interest rates cut, people will be willing to go buy their equipment because interest rates will be a lot cheaper. We just don't know yet because interest rates haven't gone down. So hopefully when we see those interest rates goes down, we go, yep, it was, InMode, it was obviously going to recover. But when interest rates come down and if the sales don't recover, that's when the bigger issue comes. So still quietly confident on that one. But unfortunately, until they've kind of got a grip of the numbers, it probably won't do that well at the moment. So yeah. Well, we've got the lemon joining us. When are you going to buy vanilla? Not sure, to be honest with you. I think obviously you mentioned it to me a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it now? And I think the guys on Vox Markets, Paul Hill, Paul Scott, were talking about it. And some really interesting people that have been buying into it. Obviously, when you look at what they do, it would be at the start of the construction cycle. So you would expect that if the recovery is going to happen into the construction space, they would be someone that was to benefit very quickly. And they would probably be the first kind of signs like, hey, things are starting to recover from this one. I mean, I don't know. Can we just flick across to Simple Wall Street? There we go. So some of you guys might not know this one, bit of a smaller market cap, so not as well known. 40 million. So obviously a little bit careful there about liquidity issues. That could be something just to be watch out, especially for you guys that are trading 212 users. What's going on with the stock chart recently? I've not looked at this for a little bit, so I don't know where exactly it all is at. Let me just so it looks like it's just continued to drop through December, to be fair. Maybe a little bit of a bounce up actually in the last couple of days, but if we zoom out a bit further, really peaked in that 2023 time, and then it's been down a little bit since then. Is that the trust budget? No, 2023. What was that? Was that profit warning? Been a bit stable. Let's zoom out a little bit more. So it's not been doing quite well as recently. Bit of a drop off there financially though. This year, interestingly, the revenue is expected to recover a little bit. Profit wise, look at the profit that some of these analysts are forecasting at the moment. I mean, if they hit those 2026 numbers, Levin, you probably know better than me at the moment if those 2026 numbers are on point, but 6 million forecast in 2026, April 2026. If that was, that number hasn't been updated since October 29th, so just be a little bit careful there. But if you're doing about 6 million of profit on a 40 million market cap, that's not bad at all, is it? And then obviously if your revenue starts, rebounding, that'd be good. Obviously, there's a lot of things that depend. Hopefully a speed up in obviously construction would be key for this one to do well. Balance sheet wise, if you are going to buy in this space, you need to be picking some up with a nice balance sheet. You certainly have it with this. There's no debt on that balance sheet. I love that. 6 million in the market, 6 million cash in the bank as well. So about 15% of its market cap in cash. That's a good market cash balance to have there. So gives you a little bit of security because obviously, the dividend wise, you want to just, make sure that dividend still comes in, which is about 3% at the moment. Back before the whole CV times was a little bit higher as well. Is there any insider buying going on? I can't remember. So the CFO, that's good to see. Bought some shares, around about 10k worth of shares. The chairman of the board picked some shares up on the 14th of April. They bought about roughly where the share price is right now, which is good to see. Some insider buying. How much did the chairman of the board buy? 18k. Don't look too bad. I don't know if you would want maybe a little bit bigger buy. The CFO's on 583k. What's the CFO on? So the CFO's on about 317k. So I don't know if you would maybe want a little bit of a bigger buy than that potentially. what was it, about a 2-week salary? Maybe you'd want maybe a little bit of a bigger buy. But yeah, it's probably worth it. It's worth a look, to be honest with you, because, like I said, you'd be staring at that 6 million, and if they get there, I mean, in 2027 at the moment, apparently the forecast is 7 million. So if it starts doing those sort of numbers, you'd be really happy with this one. What were they doing before COVID? Okay, so they did actually historically in 20. Here's a question for you, Lemon. So why did it used to do 7-8 million of profitability here, but yet when housing was going a little bit crazy, because they do construction bases, right? I believe it is. Or ground engineering services. So when everything was going a little bit crazy during that 2021 period, how come they never recovered that well? Because obviously, if you see here, the profit only kind of got to, after COVID, it was basically done. Like this never had a 2021, 2022 boom, but the profit used to be like 7-8 million-ish. Why did it not bounce back that much during that period of time? Was it just because the what plans they had in just kind of wiped out after COVID, and there wasn't enough time? Is that what kind of wiped it off? The pipeline kind of went. I'd be interested to know your thoughts on that one. But they have historically done it, so it's been proven that they can get to those sort of level. And as well, the revenue is a lot higher now as well. If you look there, the revenue was about 100 million, and now they're up to 137 million as well. And if the growth is what they're forecasting, the revenue is going to be nearly double what they did during that time when they did that 8 million-ish. So there you go, Lemon. A little bit of research for you to look into. What's your personal investment goals? You get your ISA portfolio to 1 million by 2032. Oh, 2032 is precise. Is that yours, Rob? And the dividends will supplement income. You know what? I used to do them. Right now, I haven't really got any. It sounds bad. I guess only the plan I kind of had is that I would get to a point where if I ever wanted to quit my job, I could do, and I'm fortunate to be at that point. And I'll tell you something, like the ability when you know that, I think you actually enjoy your life in general, and I think you enjoy your job a little bit more, because I think in the back of your head you think, you know what, if this goes wrong, you know what, I'm just gonna say, stuff it. I don't want to do this anymore, which is actually a really funny thing. But yeah, I don't really have any more. I probably should get some, shouldn't I, really? But yeah, I've not got any. I've never. Is that a legit stock? Yeah, I think you're winding me up now. Frey Bentoast tinned pies. You're gonna have to give me the ticker symbol for that one. We've got Jason Blog joining us. Germany. I believe, Jason, you're from Germany. I don't know if I'm wrong there. If I'm being stupid, then you'll have to say. I believe you're from. I believe you're from Germany, aren't you? Sorry, guys, I'm just having a bit of issues with the comments section here. I just can't get to the question that I should be on. Here we go. AJ Junior, what's the best website you use? Recommend your favorite for market research. Simple Wall Street. I'm using it right now in this video. Good price. You get all your basic information on there. Nice graphs to look at as well, especially if you're a new investor as well. I think that also helps a little bit. Yeah, I'd have to go Simple Wall Street. I use it in nearly all my videos quite often with you guys. Another good reason why is because visually it looks good on the videos compared to something like a Stockopedia, for example. So yeah, I used to pay for this quite often. Luckily enough now, Simple Wall Street saw me using it in the videos, and they're like, you can have a subscription for free because of the promotion that you're doing in it all, which is like, that's absolutely amazing of you. So yeah, Simple Wall Street, I think, for me. Congratulations on reaching another target. Thoughts on DGE? Diageo, correct? I think that's right. Yeah, we've covered it on the stock request quite a bit on Patreon. So, Lee, I don't know if you're on the Patreon. So if you are on Patreon, go look that stock request video up, and I kind of get my thoughts there on Diageo. Concerns probably around like the younger generation. They're not drinking a lot at the moment. It's crazy. I saw a video like this was probably going back to like October time, November time, and it was freshers, and like one of those things where they go around the street and they go ask people questions. Half of them are annoying as fuck, aren't they? But it is what it is. And they were like, "Oh, how's freshers going? How much have you had to drink so far?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't drink. I don't drink. I don't drink." And the one guy that had drinks, he was like, "Yeah, it was wild. I had like 4 bottles of Budweiser, and it was wild." 4 bottles of Budweiser. I mean, I don't want to tell you what I was having about 14 years ago, but it was more than four bottles of Budweiser, and that's a concern that the younger generation aren't drinking. I guess they've got the ultimate brand of Guinness that seems to be doing quite well at the moment. But I think if you're buying it, I think you have to get the valuation right, and I think a lot of people keep buying it, and I've always struggled to see the valuation with it. And I haven't run the numbers since the last stock request, so I'm not 100% sure. I think you'll do okay from it. I don't think it's a terrible stock. I don't think the valuation is too bad. I've just argued the case. I just don't know if there's that much upside in it right now where I would personally go into it. Obviously, you know me. I like to have more than 100% upside when I go into a position. And I last time I checked, I don't think I was getting it. I think I was close to it, but not enough. But I've not looked at it properly for a while. So, yeah, sorry. What do you think about Kate Box, Burberry, and Doc Martens? Kate Box, I like. The valuation still not too bad. Growth still very good. It'd be interesting to see how the expansion into France goes. Burberry obviously went crazy low not too long ago. Even though I'm not a big fan of it, it was kind of like surely the brand's worth that, where you'd get the point where you get that takeover sniffing around of like what I mentioned earlier about UK stocks is that it went that low where you'd think someone's going to consider buying this out just for the brand. So it would purely come a takeover play at some point. At the moment, I think that there's a big turnaround needed. That I think the market really rallied on Burberry, like, oh yeah, the CEO is going to turn it around, and then I think eventually they saw like the next set of earnings, and they went, oh my days, it's actually a bigger turnaround than what actually we thought there was going to be. So yeah, from a fundamental point of view, it would be risky because there's a big turnaround needed. You would ultimately, in my opinion, be playing that as a takeover play. Doc Martens, they'll have the day again, but right now, yeah, it's quite far off having its day, which is the issue. I think it's one of those that you watch and eventually they might turn it around. But it's fashion. Fashion's an awful space to be invested in. You're gonna have to shout boohoo at me, and I'll run away. It's an awful space to be invested in. There's just no loyalty, and everything goes through cycles, and you got to be really careful. Right now I've got Lululemon, and I'm being so careful because you click your fingers, and next thing you know, they've gone out of trend. You got to be really careful. So yeah. Dave says, what's your feeling around DraftKings at the moment? Yeah, the least bullish I've been on them for a long time. Yeah. Every so often kind of selling a couple of shares out of them. Still got a big position in them though, because like I said, the US growth is, they should do very well in the next 5 years because of the growth drivers for them. I feel like they've just made a couple of bad decisions in the last 12 months. Things like the new subscription model they're doing. I don't know why they're doing that. I think you could be careful just not to, you could potentially annoy some of your customer base by doing things like that. So you got to be really careful. I think FanDuel have made some very good partnerships in the last 12 months, and I feel like DraftKings haven't done that as well. I think like the likes of the Bally Sports move that they had and changing that to FanDuel TV was a good move from the likes of FanDuel. So I think, a year and a half ago, I think they overtook FanDuel in the US. And then since that moment, FanDuel kind of like put the boosters on, and DraftKings kind of looks like they've sat still a little bit or not being as active as FanDuel and fallen behind the trend a little bit. But yeah, that sounds really negative. I think if they hit the full year numbers, the stock will do very well from here. The valuation isn't that bad. And if they do the growth that it's saying to do, the stock should do quite well. Obviously, the sport outcomes haven't been great at the moment. It looks like once again Q4 is not going to be great. So yeah, it's I sound quite negative on it, but I still think it still it still should do well for many years yet at the moment. But I just don't think they've done as well as what they've have done in like 2021 and 22, for example. So yeah, just being a little bit more cautious. And I think the other thing that I've also got on back of my mind is that I'm staring at evolution, and I'm thinking, look at the opportunity there. I'm looking at gaming realms at like 11 times earnings, seeing the opportunity there, and I'm just staring at the other opportunities right now, and they're the same. Like, I feel like they're the opportunities that I saw with DraftKings in 2022. So it's hard for me to get excited when I'm looking at those stocks and thinking, look at the valuation there. So that's also another thing that's kind of on the back of my mind as well with this sort of thing. O'Run says, "Hey Jacob, I love to know more about your property investments and how the return compares to the stock market." Yeah, it seems like since I mentioned that there's been a little bit more interest around it. I don't know. Like I said, the YouTube channel has always been like stock market content, so I don't know how property will do very well. Seems like there might be a little bit more demand there than what I actually originally thought. I don't know if it would be a good one to kind of put on the YouTube side of it at some point. Obviously, I mentioned that potentially I'll look at a new one this year. I don't know if that's something that would be good to kind of make videos on the process of it. The only thing that I also want to be very careful about is like how much details I share around it, because you kind of want to, I quite see quite often like a lot of people like put on YouTube like the property and vlogging it and giving details away. I want to be, got like 17,000. I should know it's 17,000 subscribers. I don't know if I want to give too much information away about like where it is, who it is, because there's some dodgy people on the internet, and it was kind of sharing that sort of information around it. I think it could be not very safe for the person that's kind of taking up the property. So I would have to be a little bit more cautious about how I kind of did it as well. So yeah, I'll have a think on it. I just don't know exactly how much I want to reveal on that side of it just yet, to be honest with you. So I'm thinking on it. I've been quite surprised with the reaction, but yeah. Mike says, "Hi Jacob, thanks for your opinion on pets. No problem. I have 4 growth stocks and 5 dividend stocks. Looking to add 1 more growth stock and 2 to 3 dividend stocks next few years. Any that stands out for you?" I'd just look at the US stocks and UK stocks I'm buying. You on there, you'll be able to probably see the ones that I'm most optimistic about. If you go on the UK stocks I'm buying, those ones that obviously I feel that are the most attractive stocks at the moment. Gaming Realms, JD Sports, at the moment, War Paint. Those are the ones that I'll be staring at. And then obviously, I would say there's not many. The only growth stock really on the UK side of it is more like Audio Boom, I would say. And then obviously on the US side of it, a lot more of those are kind of more growth orientated, I would say. You like of Mercado Libre, New Holdings, and buying up. Obviously, I try buy Google every so often because I'd love Google to be a big position on what it is, but the valuation is not as great as the ones that I've just kind of mentioned. But yeah, there's loads of questions. I'm scaling down. Jeez, what are we on about an hour? Right, we'll go for a bit longer, and then I might have to call it on some of the questions, guys. I apologize. I don't know if I'm going to get through all these. Which big investor would you like to have? Peter Lynch or Warren Buffett? Give me either one. Yeah, we've got to be careful about that one. Congrats on the subscribers. Thank you very much. Informer, do you think we've hit market peak given you've had so many new subscribers? Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Even though the Discord has been on fire, the stock market account's been on fire, the YouTube's been on fire. This is, I think, the best month we've had for new subscribers since like some point in 2021. Is a bit of a concern because that's when we were near the top of the market. Everything's fine. Everything feels a bit, frothy now, doesn't it? So it's one of the, that's what I like about it in YouTube. You get those kind of like indicators of, is the market getting frothy? And that's probably one of the indicators that scream like it's getting a bit nervous again. So yeah, you have hit the nail on the head there. Congrats. Thanks, Roger. Nice picture, by the way. Is that you? Do you think Perfect Corp could be up 10x? It's a big shout. It's a big shout. Perfect Corp. I've never heard of that one. US company? AI. Oh, hot at the moment, isn't it? Let's have a look. Whoa, look at that. What's going on there? It's a 266 million market cap, and it's nearly losing the whole market cap. It's got up to profitability now, though. 6 million profit on a 266 million market. Oh, that's, I don't know if that's a little bit rich. Oh, I think you need more growth than this. That's currently going on. What's balance sheet like? Yeah, it's a good balance sheet, to be fair. Yeah, I'd like to know what went on there. That looks a bit ugly. But yeah, I mean, it's got steady revenue growth. It's got steady amount of profit growth. The only issue is, let's say 2025, 7 mil. It's growing about 15%, shall we say? 15%, and you're paying up a 7 million on a 266 million market cap. It's decent. It's decent. I'd be very careful with anything with AI in the name. It just be 51 times earnings. It's decent, but just be careful about the whole AI kind of situation. Good balance sheet. It probably will do okay. I don't know for 51 times earnings if you probably want a little bit more growth from this potentially. But if you believe it can grow a little bit faster than this, I mean, I think 15% growth is, it's okay. I think if you wanted, as you say, if you were going for the 10x, that's where you need 40, 50% revenue growth potentially. So if you think it can get there, then you potentially, but I'd say maybe you want a bit more growth. But balance sheet looks good. It's profitable. It's growing. I'd just number crunch a little bit more, but I think if you wanted a big gain on that one, I think you're going to have to see a bit more revenue growth, I would say. I won't change my investing philosophy at all if it's a bear market. Yeah, I'll see a stock I like, and if I like the stock, I'll buy it, even if we're going into a bear market. Look at the UK stocks. I think the valuation is good. I like it. Even if I think it's going to be an ugly 6 months in the UK markets, I just keep buying. I don't try change my plan. I don't try time the market. If I did try time the market, I probably wouldn't have done as well as I did in 2021 coming out of the CV times. I thought, no way is the stock's going to rally in 2020 after the CV dip. Everything's shut. Everything's going to be shut for like another year and a half. Market didn't care. Market rallied. I would have missed out. So there's a lot of times where you try time the market and you get it totally wrong. So yeah. Inform says, just come back from M&S and feels like they put the price up. You know what? I actually noticed that the other day. Yesterday, I was like, these prices are going up again here. Wow, so chair's £5.50. They're going to have to put those tags on it sometime. Those tags that set the alarm off when you run through the gate, because otherwise it's going to start setting the alarm off. You have to start putting it on the cherries at £5.50. That's crazy. Yeah, I couldn't believe the other day I went to go get some, baby formula. And yeah, there was tags on there. I couldn't believe that either. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's what I say though. You got to be careful. A lot of these companies at the moment, they're putting all these like-for-like numbers out, and I mentioned it on B&M, and like, oh, it's amazing because the like-for-like growth is up this much, and like, well, it's only up because they've put the prices up this much. It's not like it's like natural growth. In my opinion, like-for-like is getting a lot of attention at the moment that isn't significant, because a lot of these companies are going out and sticking these sticking the prices up. So yeah. The DraftKings is a good buy if you believe they can hit the numbers they're supposed to do. I would say so. Yeah, I've not number crunched it for a while myself, but I to be honest with you, sitting on my average I don't really check on it too much. I just think next 5 years will be good for it, so I just keep holding it. What subcategories do you have in Discord? Just curious for discussing about halal stocks there. I don't believe there's any halal stocks in the portfolio. But yeah, there's quite a few Discord tabs on the UK side of it and the US side of it. And what we do is if there's any kind of demand for a tab, we'll add it into the Discord potentially. So for example, I'm not a big fan of European stocks, but everyone wanted a European tab on about European stocks. So we now have a European stock tab. The only one that I kind of buy is Evolution on the EU market, but even then I buy the US listing. So yeah. Why have I chosen AMD over Nvidia? Nvidia is looking cheaper. I disagree. AMD is looking cheaper and is growing at a faster rate. Yeah, but the thing is if you're paying a big valuation for it, and it's growing faster, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you got to get the stock at the right price. It's all right having a great stock, but if it's a great price, you're not going to make money on it. If you get a great stock at a cheap price, you're going to make money on it. So yeah, that's exactly why. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mustafa. Congrats on the 15K. Don't tell me we've gone down to, we've lost 2K subscribers since doing this live Q&A session. You suggest you like to invest in where you have an edge. What edge do you have with AMD? I don't have a big edge with the AMD space, but what I would say is I would like to say I'm a bit stronger in like the gaming space and the technology space, where I can understand. It's very hard, I think, for anyone to have an edge in the AMD's the chip space, because ultimately you're trying to guess what the new products are and how successful they're going to be, and if they are going to be better than what the current product is. So, for example, if you're looking at 2026 and you look at the developments that are coming out in 2026, the details are so light. So we don't actually know in 2026 how good the products are going to be. But I would look at what AMD are currently doing, and I look at the valuation. I look at the demand that we're seeing at the moment with the spaces that AMD are in. And I'm looking at that, I'm looking at the products that are coming up, and I can look through the details of the products that are in and the products that are coming up and thinking, you know what? These products could be quite competitive. Now, we don't know. That's all the thing with investing. We don't actually know quite often the outcome. You know, everything in hindsight will look a lot clearer when we get to 3 or 4 years down the line, won't it? But what we can clearly see with AMD is that they were behind on their products recently. But looking at what's coming up, we can see that they're coming, what I can see anyway from what I've looked at, and maybe that's where the edge is that their products are going to start closing the gap. And if they start closing the gap, we see the demand, we can see the demand is needed for AMD. Hopefully that's where it kind of works out. Now, if you look at the market at the moment is saying that AMD is not closing the gap. They're not meeting demand. They're not going to get to the numbers that they're supposed to be doing. So AMD, I would argue the edge there is that I can see AMD are going to close the gap in the next 2 years. The market says no. We'll see who's right. If I'm right, the edge was there on the AMD. If it wasn't, it's obviously got it wrong. But AMD, I would say, certainly is a stock that's a little bit further out of my circle, and certainly that would be a case that it wouldn't be a good one to use an edge on that one. A lot of that just comes down to like the risk to reward and the valuation side of it. But if you look elsewhere, I'd say a little bit few more certain investments. I'd say you'd certainly see you could see where I like investing in is what I would say for that. Thank you very much, Mustafa. We'll do a few more questions, guys, then I'll have to call it. So apologies if I don't get to your question. I'll try to be a bit quicker on some of these answers as well, so I can try catch up some of the questions. So if I don't give you big details on your question, guys, I apologize. But I don't. Some of you guys have asked some questions, and I don't want to leave you without giving you an answer here. So thanks very much. Thoughts on S4 now? We need a takeover. That's basically it. The cost control is not doing very well. LGN comments, please. Yeah, if you want a stock with a nice dividend, I think you're getting that with LGN. Obviously, the UK economy isn't great at the moment, so you probably won't see much share price return at all from it until the UK economy kind of recovers. We thought we were going to get that, and for a period of time we did, but obviously now looks a little bit more negative. But if you want a nice dividend stock that gives you, pays you out, obviously you do get that one for that one. Any AI stock you're investing in for 3 or 5 years? Yeah, I'd say that AMD is my kind of play there. I've not really had an AI kind of stock really for a little bit, and that was one of the reasons why I invested in AMD. I wanted to kind of fill that gap, and if the AI situation carries on how it is doing, I believe AMD will do very well as long as they close the gap with the product. So yeah, AMD is the one for me at the moment. That's all from me. What are your thoughts on ODD? Don't know it well enough. Apologies. One of my top stock picks for 2025 alongside new Nvidia hymns and so far. Yeah, don't really know it. Apologies. I would look it on Simple Wall Street, but I just want to get through some of the questions. So I can't chat one for you right now, Jay. Apologies. Thanks very much on the comment though. Did you hear about the US private equity fund that is trying to buy 6 years? Oh, right. Well, it's another example, isn't it? That's what the key driver is, I think, for UK stocks at the moment. What are your thoughts on banking sector? I don't really like the banking sector, but my error is that I sold off my Barclays shares way too early when they were way too low. But if it comes to the right time period where it looks like it looks good, I might buy in, but I'm not really confident in the space. But yeah, when I did feel the confidence with Barclays, I sold it way too early, so that was a mess up from me at the moment. Since Wall Street numbers are not accurate future forecasts, okay. So, Lemon, are you expecting, from what you see there, are you expecting? Obviously, it's not been updated since October time. Are you expecting better numbers? Are you expecting worse numbers there? Is the market likely to go down further? I'll have to go get my crystal ball out for that one. I have no idea. File Education is still a scammer. He is the number one scammer on YouTube. He even might give Meet Kevin a run for his money. I'm seeing new building sites springing up. Oh, yeah, it seems like they're still doing. You drive past, aren't you? There's a big Persimmon site near me, and it looks like everyone's kind of moving in there for sure. Trading below the TNAV. I've not actually looked. Is that for? I'm guessing that for Van Elle, isn't it? Yeah. I had to return my last frame. I got to see a ticket symbol for this one, eh? Do you keep in touch with financial? You said you knew him personally ages ago. No, I don't think I don't think I did. I think a while ago I did message him, but I don't really know him personally. So yeah. Well, I definitely don't know him personally now after the last few videos. What do you think about the outlook for Fubo TV? Yeah, still shit. It's a crap company. It's going bankrupt, and Disney saved them. Congrats for achieving the 17 subscriber goal. Thank you very much. GSK, not one that I've always been interested in. I don't think the valuation is that attractive. So yeah. Can't argue Burberry and 6% on it. Yeah, I'd be tempted to cut and run though if I were you now. Lisa's what's happening with Bol. They obviously there's concerns around the profit side of it, and then obviously the NI impacts that come on top. And that's probably the big concern with it, and obviously the big write-off from the golfing side of it. So a little bit of short-term pain on there. The market's gone short-term thinking as always. So yeah, that's what's causing it to go down. For the long term, where do I put my 10K for 5 to 10 years? The S&P 500, Sam. Thank you very much, AK. Given the macro environment, are you looking to make your portfolio more US-centric? I mean, I'll probably just keep it the normal range. I normally go about 80% in US stocks, so that will be my normal split. Really, it won't change too much. This channel is a joke. I mean, I know I'm funny, but I don't think I'm that funny, SS. But thank you very much. I think that's probably why it replies to that one. John says, "Hi Jacob, how all is well? Uber." I personally like Google. You get Waymo in it, and you get so many other kind of companies with it that I think Uber might be disrupted in the next few years. So I'd rather just stick with Google at the moment. If it came to the right value, I would buy it. I don't think the right value is right now, though. So yeah. ASML, I never properly looked into it. Obviously, I know Steve D is obviously a big fan of it from the Playing Footsie guys, but never really looked into it. I guess really now, I guess AMD would kind of give me some exposure in that kind of space. But as far as what I know about it, it looks like a company that should do quite well for the next 5 years. So yeah. Hi Jacob, being Hill was pretty busy today. Good to hear. it looks crazy cheap. Yeah, I think it's the January sale that's going on at the moment. They kind of do it every year. It sounds like on the trading update, it was going quite well as well. I was actually supposed to go today and have a look, but I never made it. If I put £100 in B&M in the next week, I will receive a £4.75 special dividend in February. It seems too good. It's something like that. I can't remember the exact dates on it. But if you go onto Dividend Max, it'll tell you the rough dates. But it sounds like you're pretty. Yeah, sounds like pretty right. Ooh, going for the short on the AI space. You never know. Transmedic still a buy? I've never looked at it, so I wouldn't even say it was still a buy. I need to look at it. I think a short report kind of came out the other day. I've never looked at it, so I can't give you any information on it. I think I briefly mentioned it the other day on the Patreon as it looked interesting, but I've not looked into it, so I can't give you too much information on it. Thank you very much. Need more moderators. Hey, South London reseller, if you want to do it for free, you can be my moderator. Yeah. Are you on a dry January? For the first 3 days of January, yeah. The next kind of couple of days, no. January just started. It did. We're on the 11th of January at the moment. Unless is that kind of reply to the B&M question? What I said about B&M? You're correct. Yeah, a lot can change since then for sure. So it's okay saying it's doing quite well in January, but it can get it can certainly deteriorate very quickly. We've seen that very much before with some of these trading updates. Everything's going really well, and then they bring the next update out, and it's like, yeah, it deteriorated from that point. So yeah, it's something definitely to be careful of. Right, we're now 15 minutes in. I'm calling it there, guys. Thanks for joining on the live Q&A session for the 17,000 subscribers. Hopefully we do the 18,000 subscriber live Q&A session sometime soon. Obviously, if you can spread the word, if you're not subscribed as well, and subscribe, help us get there quite a lot quicker. I think at the current rate we're currently running on, I think we will get to the 18,000 subscriber mark probably around about March or April time, but this month has been crazy good for the subscribers, so that's not something that is probably guaranteed to kind of come. It could easily slow down, especially if the market dips. Maybe the subscribers kind of slow down there, but hey, if we do go on the current run rate and it carries on doing what it's currently doing, obviously we'll hopefully do another live Q&A session on the main YouTube channel in about March time or April time if we do get to the 18,000 subscriber mark. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys on the live Q&A session on the main channel sometime soon. Hopefully in the next kind of couple of months. But for all you guys that gave up your Saturday night to join me, thanks for watching. And the replay should be up as well for if you do want to go back and watch it as well. So I'll see you tomorrow. I'll do the US stocks I'm buying video series as well for you guys tomorrow. That's why I did this tonight. And thanks for watching. See you in a bit.